Let's take this dark and dated dresser and let's make it into something beautiful. I'm going to start with a sanding net. I'm going to strip the top. That's already my plan. I don't have a complete plan for the rest of it, but this is a 80 grit sanding net. Makes quick work of this. And that's just the first pass. I was able to use that because this is solid wood. See all those lines? That's solid wood. I'm going to take all the drawers out and number them. That's really important. This is a veneer, so I have to be a little more careful here. The sides of the drawers have all kinds of stain and gunk on them, so I'm going to sand them all down. And I start sanding the top of the drawer, and sure enough, that's a veneer on top of particle board. It's okay, that press board is actually in really good condition, but we'll have to address that later. I also have a drawer glide that's missing. So we're just going to replace that so they slide nice and smooth. Time to take off that dated hardware. We're going to keep it, but we need to freshen it up and remove these doors. These doors are like 2 inches thick. They're so heavy. And I need to get all of the hardware and brass plates off so I can freshen them up. Taking off the hinges. It's really important when you take off a hinge on vintage furniture. Label it. And it's time for some sanding. I'm using my surf prep here because I can use the pads on all the edges and everything. There's lots of details for the surf prep, and it makes quick work of this stuff. You can see that pad just wraps right around there. And in this area especially, I love it. Surf prep is a great investment. And now I'm going back over the top. I started with that 80, I went to 120, 220. And now getting the crumb catcher, this little detail, I always call it a crumb catcher. Vacuum out all the dust. Time to clean the inside. And spick and span, ready to go. So we're going to start cleaning everything. I'm using crud cutter. One last chance to degrease everything. Now that I have that top stripped, I want to protect it. So I'm going to tape off the edges. And I'm just using, it's kind of like a saran wrap. This is a Kirkland brand. I'm just going to roll it out and attach it to that tape that I have standing up on the edges there. This is how I always mask off a dresser. Just works so great, and it's so inexpensive. Tape down the middle, tape to hold everything on in the back, and that's all super easy. Now that everything's labeled, those drawers go in super easy, and they know right where they're supposed to go. I taped those areas off because I don't want any paint on those drawer guides. This babe is heavy. Took a minute to get it in the tent. So these are little cabinet painting helpers. I can set the doors right on there so I can get the edges. It's prime time. The transformation begins. A nice coat of primer reveals all of these areas that need caulking. They just really pop out once you prime something. So those got all caulked. Once that caulk is completely dry, you have to wait. Now I can go in with paint and it seals the caulking and there's no problems with it. So that's my first coat of paint. I did 2 coats of paint and I get asked constantly about the drawers. Yes, I paint with the drawers in. On these big drawers like this, I can just take a piece of cardboard and spray the tops. I taped the sides so I could spray those as well. I don't usually spray dovetails, but these needed to be sprayed because they were particle board. Part of it was particle board because that drawer face. So now this is top coat. I ended up doing 3 layers of top coat. I have tinted it with the pink color. And take off that tape. Nice clean lines. My drawer guides have no overspray so that the drawers slide straight and smooth. It's beautiful. And again, the sides of the drawers there. I want to keep everything nice and clean, crisp, straight lines. Perfect. Okay, time to reveal the top. It's in great shape. Now we're ready to do something with the wood here. I am using the Country Chic paint in the color Soiree. and I'm making a paint wash. So you see there's no measuring. It's a little of this and a lot of that. It's more water than it is paint, and I like to thin mine quite a bit because I'm going to brush it on and I'm not going to wipe it back. So I'm using probably either 5 or 6 parts of water to 1 part paint. And you see it just puts a thin layer on. You don't need a lot. I could make it thicker and, put it on and wipe it off, but this is how I like to do it. And here it is all nice and dry. It just really toned everything down. Okay, remember those tops of the drawers that were particle board? This is how we have to address them. This is called edge banding. I bought this right on Amazon. It's a thin layer of wood that's made specific for this, and you see it has an adhesive already on the back. It's not sticky at all because you activate it with heat. So we're going to put it right on the top, and I'm going to line up the front edge because that's the one I know is going to be super straight. I'm going to trim the back, but I want the front to be straight, so that's the one I line up. I take my hot iron, it's on high, no steam, just straight heat, and just put it on. I mean, with the first pass, it's already adhered well, and I just go over it several times. I want to make sure that it's really activating that glue, so it's going to stick really good. And I'm not going to show it all, but I go back and forth over it several times. Just keep moving. I then take an X-Acto knife and trim the edges. And again, I have it just a little bit wider than this drawer, so I just have to trim that off. Super easy. And now I'm going to go back over it one more time with my iron. You can see that? Beautiful. No more particle board. And so I'm going to sand it and get ready for the same treatment that I did on the top, the paint wash. Now let's freshen up this hardware. This is called hardware soup. I put it in a pan, vinegar and water, 15 minutes on medium heat, into the sink with some Barkeeper's Friend and steel wool. And I'm going to scrub that and look at the difference. Beautiful. Okay, now time for some top coat. I also tinted my top coat with the same color of paint. This is the same top coat I used on the body of the dresser. And yeah, I could just spray it at this point, but decided to just go ahead and brush it on with a poly brush. I did 4 coats of it. So I like to do lots and lots of coats on the top because I want it to be very durable. And now time to freshen up the inside and the outside of the drawers. This is Howard's Feed and Wax, and it smells like oranges. It's beautiful. Everything looks so beautiful and nourished when this is all done. You see where I sanded all of the sides of the drawers, they just look dry. And we're just going to give that a nice freshening up, and they're beautiful. And that wood really pops. Okay, so I'm going to do one more layer of top coat, and I decided to just put a little pop of water-based stain in it. This is the color whole wheat, and I just wanted to warm it up a little. Once I got it to where I was about to stage it and take some photos, I was like, I think I want it a little warmer, and I'm glad I did that. Time to put the doors back on, which is always the stressful part, but yay, they fit. One last look of where we started, and here's where we are. I think it's a huge improvement over the dark and dated. Now it's just modern and beautiful and fresh. And those drawers are beautiful. I hope you like it. And then I sold this piece to a former client who purchased white nightstands for me and wanted this changed to match. So it became bright white. I hope you like the second version too. Be sure to follow for more.